TV live. Make sure you're locked in. Hit that like button on the way in early. Subscribe if you ain't already subscribed. Hit that notification bell if you ain't already. Um, Leave comments in the comment section if you are watching the playback and all that good stuff. 1 second. There we go. Yeah, we're in. So how you doing today? Hold on, let me get this thing up. Boom. Yes, October, how's it going? So today we're doing trials and tributations. I've used the word. I don't know if it's an official word, but I think it's quite fitting. If you see the thumbnail, you kind of guess why. Hold on a minute. Shout out October Red. Make sure that you subscribe to October Red Media. Get all that good exclusive news, interviews, um, the best media outlet, in my opinion, and in many people's opinions, even promoters' opinions, when it comes to asking questions, getting answers, finding out information, delving deep into people's mindset, lives, not in a nosy way, but in an informative way. Um, yeah, promoters, various people said they enjoy, her interviewing them. I enjoy interviews, fast growing channel. So make sure you subscribe to October Red Media, please, people. All that good stuff. Um, and yes, so today we're going to talk about some various subjects. The reason for the title Trials and Tributations is because we're going to talk about the late, great Big George Foreman, uh, Livingston Bramble, Colin Hart, and that's the tributations and the trials. You're going to see AB and some other stuff we'll get into. But first of all, thank you everyone for tuning in. I know it's afternoon. Most of you will probably watch it on the playback, which is fine. That's cool. But so first, so I've got my written notes. We're not box wrecking out here. We've got my written notes. We've got my information because I am born. Well, I'm born just before the second um, career of George Foreman. Funny enough, but we'll get into all of that. So first off, George Foreman. He was born in the South. Big George, proper FBA brother, as I know a lot of people, my American folks like to mention. So yeah, he's born in a place called Marshall, Texas. I don't know too much about Marshall, Texas, but Marshalls. I imagine it's the people talk about the gun line, the gun line. Yes, big up D Obianuli. I was meant to give you your flowers. You got a prediction right a few weeks ago, and I was waiting for you to come back in. What was the fight? I was talking. It was, and I didn't think it was going to happen that way, and you got it exactly right. What was the fight again? Sorry about this. Remind me, D. But yeah, but then he started living in Houston, Texas. But yeah, Big George, he was born in Marshall, Texas. Um, you'd have to. I should have got someone like Ben Doughty or even Spencer Fearon to talk about. Maybe they might know a bit more about his childhood and stuff. I think he was born into a big family, but that's how things was back then. But fast forward, he had a good amateur career, well, great amateur career actually. Won an Olympic gold medal in 1968. It was Bacoli Parker. The jet lag was too much. No, that was it. I remember now. It wasn't that. Um, the jet lag wouldn't have kicked in a day. You can't get jet lag in a day. But it was the Callum Smith Joshua Boatsy fight. That's the one you got right. And you said that the work rate would be too much for what's it? Callum Smith's work rate will be too much and will be the time. I was like, work rate? I don't. He ain't really a man with work rate like that. But boy, he showed it. He showed it that night. So yeah, you was right. So there, that's it. Thank you for reminding me. I got it in the end. It was the Callum Smith Joshua Boatsy fight. So big ups, man, like D. So yes, George Foreman. He won an Olympic gold medal in Mexico City, 1968. He stopped Jonas Kupulis of Lithuania in the second round in the finals. Then before that, he stopped um, Alexei Ion Alexei of Romania in the quarterfinals. and that was in the third round, and he stopped Giorgio Bambini in the semis in the second round. So he won Olympic gold medal in 1968. 1967 is when Muhammad Ali, or was it 1966? I think it was 1967. Muhammad Ali won the heavyweight title around that time. So George Foreman won it while Muhammad Ali was champion. George Foreman later went on to, oh damn, I forgot to put the Instagram on. Let me do that now. Sorry about that, guys. Yeah, so then whilst Muhammad Ali was champion, George Foreman then won the Olympic gold medals after that. So he would have been looking up to man like Cassius Clay at the time, sorry. And then George Foreman turned pro in 1969, and he went on, he had a 37, he went on a 37 fight, win streak run. Uh, and then it was only in 19, so it was in 1969, he made his debut. And then in 1973, which is only 4 years, he then fought Joe Frazier, who then became, the heavyweight champion. People thought he was like a bit paperish, but then when he beat Ali, that cemented him. And then George Foreman went to, my place, Kingston, Jamaica. Obviously, my family's not from Kingston, but Jamaica, yeah. So in Kingston, Jamaica, and Joe Frazier was 29-0 at the time. Joe Frazier was 29 years old. George Foreman was 24 years old. Hence, George Foreman is in the top. I'm sure he's in the top 5 youngest heavyweight world champions of all time. I know so I know it goes Mike Tyson, Floyd Patterson, Muhammad Ali. I think George Foreman might be in there. It's either number 4 or 5, George. But he knocked out George Foreman in 2 rounds, knocked him down 3 times in the first round, 3 times in the second round, and stopped him. I've seen that fight on VCS tapes as a kid. Seen it on YouTube. It's been, everyone knows that fight. He obliterated him, bouncing up and down the canvas. Big George Foreman, too much. So he went in there and 37-0. And then that 38 fight, and that just shows you, because now say a guy goes 37-0 before getting a world title fight, people are like, oh, how's he gonna have 37 fights and he ain't even had a world title shot? He's knocking over Binman, he's knocking over this. Because remember, also before that, George Foreman had only gone as far as 10 rounds. Even when he knocked out Joe Frazier, that was only 2 rounds. But up until then, he'd only gone 10 rounds twice against Gregorio Peralta. Once when he beat Peralta on points over 10, and the second time he stopped him in the 10th round. I think that was a scheduled 12 rounder or something like that. It might have even been, I think it was a scheduled 12 rounder, but he stopped him in 10. Then George Foreman, Big George, he made 2 defenses of the world title, WBC Heavyweight Championship versus Jose Roman. That was in Japan when he knocked him out. And then he fought Ken Norton in Venezuela, knocked out Ken Norton. So look, when you think about it, and then after that, then that's when he's fought Muhammad Ali in Congo. So when you think about it, he's fought in Jamaica. Then he fights in Japan. Then he fights in Venezuela. Then he fights in Congo, which was back then Zaire. So he's fought in the Caribbean. Then he goes over to Asia, Far East Asia. Then South America. Then Africa. You see what I'm saying? This guy, he's road warrioring. You know what I'm saying? He's not messing about. He's not messing about. And this is all back-to-back fights, by the way, people. Back-to-back fights. Shout out D. Big George, the definition of too big, too strong. No, he really was. He was too big, too strong for JF, man. He was too big, too strong for sure. Just got in. Big up Tony. yeah, man. Talking about George Foreman's credentials. So yeah, he had a couple of defenses, beat Jose Roman, knocked him out in Japan, knocked out Ken Norton in Venezuela. He knocked out Roman in the first round, knocked out Ken Norton in two, and then he fought Muhammad Ali in Zaire. Remember, as I said before that, the furthest he'd gone is only 10 rounds with Gregorio Peralta twice. The first time over 10 rounds, one on points. The second time, he stopped him in the 10th round. I think that was scheduled for a 12 rounder. And then he fought Muhammad Ali. We know what happened there. Seventh round, or was it the eighth? Seventh or eighth? He got stopped. Obviously, fatigue. I think it was the seventh. But as I said, he hadn't been the distance. So when people do talk about, back in the day, the real fighters, 15 rounds. The reason why they changed it from 15 rounds because people weren't making it to the 15th. These fights weren't really going. It's an anomaly. Only the maddest of the maddest people are going the full 15. You know what I'm saying? In an intense fight. I'm not talking about no, just circling and running down the clock. Um, After that, he had 5 wins. Notably, the next fight after the Zaire fight, he's back in America. He's fought Ron Lyle in a mad fight. Um, you know, George Foreman went down twice, and this weren't from fatigue. This was from the punches. But he knocked out Ron Lyle in the 5th round. That was a back and forth slobber knocker, as man like Jim Ross would say. That if that fight was refereed by some of these UK refs, that would have the second knockdown when George went on his face. They would have waved it off a couple of times. They probably would have stopped that fight. But hey, George showed some serious resilience. Came back, knocked out Ron Lyle in the 5th. That was a great fight, and that was 15 months after the Rumble in the Jungle. Then he knocked out Joe Frazier in 5 rounds the next time. So rather than two, knocked him out in five. But I don't know if Joe Frazier thought shaving his head was going to give him some powers, but I think we all know the story of Samson and Delilah, and you got to keep your strength in your hair. He did go longer, so I guess that helped. But he got beat down once again in 5 rounds. Um, he had a couple of other wins, and then he lost to Jimmy Young when he flew out again to Puerto Rico. Lost on points to Jimmy Young over 15 rounds. That's the first time George Foreman went the distance of 15 rounds. Hold on a second. Why? Why are you saying that? Norton versus Holmes, hardest 15 rounds. Ali Frazier, hardest 15 rounds. Leonard versus Hearns, great 15. That Leonard and Hearns, that weren't 15 rounds. Hearns got stopped. Hearns got stopped in that first fight. Did you remember? Couldn't go to 15. Yeah, Ali Frazier, as I said, only the maddest of the maddest went 15. Ali Frazier, yeah. But hold on, didn't Frazier, he had to pull out in that, what was it, the 14th round? He didn't come out. He didn't come out for that because, 15's 15, Tony. Let's keep it triller, man. You know? People weren't really going 15 rounds like that back then. And there's a reason why. There ain't loads of great 15. There's loads of great 15 round scheduled fights, but how many of them really went 15? Not many. You look on people's resumes, they didn't really go 15 rounds a lot. Ali is probably the only one who, you can look at his record and see, raw, consistent, because he went points quite a few times. So he was going 15 quite often, but you can't really name the other fighters who was going 15 quite often like that. You know what I mean? They weren't making it, unfortunately. There's a reason why they dropped it to 12. Let's keep it real. But we're not here to have a debate about the 15 round thing all over again. We'll do that on another show, Tony, and you're more than welcome. We can do a joint show where we will talk about where we will discuss that. But back to Big George. Then George Foreman, that was in 1977 when he lost to Jimmy Young. Then he decided to go off for 10 years. I'm not sure what he did in that time. Maybe Tony or someone in the chat can let me know what he was doing in that 10 years tenure. while he was away from the sport. He decides to come back in 1987. I was born by then. Um, Obviously, I was only 1 year old, but he's come back in 1987 and he's had his second career. And that's when he's returned and fought Steve Zuski, um, took him out, and then he went on a good streak, had 24 wins, 23 KOs. The only time he went points in this second, big streak is when he's gone 10 rounds with Everett Martin, and then he's fought um, after the 24 wins. He's come up against Evander Holyfield. He's lost to Holyfield on points for the IBF and WBC heavyweight title on points. Then after that, he knocked out Jimmy Ellis in 3 rounds in 1991. In 1990, he had a fight, and after that as well, the guy wasn't very no. But then he fought Tommy Morrison in 1993, lost on points in 93. And Tommy Morrison was a big power puncher, probably the best left hook, best left hooker. I in my opinion, his left hook just looks so textbook and technical, and it's the way he proper does it. The way, if you're going to teach a kid how to throw a left hook, I'm showing him Tommy Morrison. If I'm going to give him film study, so watch a Tommy Morrison how he throws this left hook. That's how you throw it. Yeah. But he went on his bike. He was boxing with George Foreman for the most part. He weren't really trying to get stuck in like he normally does. Big Tommy Gun, as they say. But yeah, Tommy Morrison, man. He won on points. And that was for the WBO title. George Foreman lost that one. But then he won the IBF and WBA title in 1994 against Michael Mora. Everyone knows he was behind on points, pulled it out of the bag with that big 1-2, knocked him out late. Then George Foreman got stripped of the WBA title because he didn't want to make a defense of the WBA against his mandatory at the time. But he defended his IBF title, made 3 defenses of that, and then he lost to Shannon Briggs in 1997, which some people say was a controversial decision. But it's what it is, and that was his final fight in 1997. So his career run, he had a 8-year career where it's 1969 to 1977. Then he went off for 10 years and then had a 10-year career from 1987 to 1997. And what makes George Foreman so great, not only obviously his big power, because the one against Jerry Cooney, that uppercut, oh my god, you can watch that multiple times. It doesn't even look like, it's like, how did he land that? He just walks up to him and just boom, and he just dealt with him. But it wasn't just that; it was also the fact that I think he's the person who's influenced a lot of, say, older people or people who's taken time away from a sport, especially combat sports, where they think, oh, I can come back and make another run. Do you know many people? There's people who've messaged me now. There's even people who've messaged me recently saying they want to come on the neutral corner because they're making a comeback. And they're like 40 years old and they think, yeah, I'm going to make a comeback and do this and I'm going to do that. But unfortunately, they ain't got it. These people, you ain't got it. You come back late, you take time off, you ain't got it no more. That's why you won't be seeing me saying, "Oh, I'm going to make a return" and all this. No, no, no. That's not how it works. But George was an anomaly where he was able to do that. The only person I know of who has done that, where he's been a world champion, lost his world title, whatever, gone off for 10 years, come back and won a world title. The only man to do that I know of. And he's the oldest heavyweight world champion in history. Won it at 45 years old. Do you know what I'm saying? So that's just unheard of as well. You don't even see people winning heavyweight world titles at 45 years old. And he's done that on his second run. The first time he's won it was at 24 years old. The next time he's won it was 21 years later. Do you know what I mean? That's just mad. So big up George Foreman. legend. Then after that, he's gone on famous to make the George Foreman grill. I had a George Foreman grill in my yard as a teenager. We all used that. I even had a lyric when I used to do a little bit of rapping back in the day. Well, I mentioned the George Foreman grill. I'm trying to see if I could remember it. Um, Top batsman in the game. The rest of you field. I'm a lean fight machine. George Foreman grill. I spotted 24 carrots. All them veggies got peeled. For the yellow, white, gold, rose also appeals. I had this mixed race stripper called Banana Peel. She's more on that white side if I'm gonna be real. So I took a calf. We orchard pie mashing ills. I said I'd have a full English, no pork, please, Jill. Gave her a Benz, keep the change in the till. So I had it out, no time to kill. I had to go to Southampton to meet Stewie Gill. He messaged me on Warrior with some info to spill. Um, about my next opponent from Jamaica No Grill. So I'm in the gym doing circuit drills, something, something. Um, then I whip back to Forest Hill. I had to collect some squares. Forget the rest of it, yeah. But I remember I had a couple bars. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Yeah, basically, yeah, yeah. One of them ones talking about my lifestyle back in the day. We started talking about some illicit activities, but we're not going to get into all that. But yeah, man, George Foreman with a George Foreman grill, and that because before he remembers Breville, but originally everyone had a Breville in it. We have a Breville, yeah, the squeezer, and then obviously you get the George Foreman grill. Now everyone's got these air fryers and stuff like that. But yeah, man, and apparently I heard that the original pitch for that grill, which became the famous George Foreman grill, was actually pitched to Hulk Hogan initially, and he turned it down for some whatever reason he did. George Foreman got it pitched next. He's like, yeah, and then boom, he took off. I mean, great household name. Nice guy, and will be severely missed. So, I mean, 10 bells for Big George, man, legend. Um, No, it weren't for meat, the Breville. It's for like obviously cheese, but it was that. Do you know what I mean? It was that kind of machine. Do you know what I mean? It was that kind of machine where you press down, and no, you can put meat in it. Well, it's like toasted, but obviously you put cheese, put little cold meats inside there. You have a little cheese and salami or whatever. You could do all that kind of good stuff. But it was along them lines, in my opinion. That was the original machine. Then, so next up, we're going to talk about Livingston Bramble. So, see, as I said, I've got my notes up in here. So, Livingston Bramble, born in St. Kitts and Nevis, but he was raised in St. Croix in the Virgin Islands. He made his debut in 1960, knocking out Jesus Serrano in the first round. He drew his second fight against Bruce Williams. His third fight, he then actually had a fight again against the guy he knocked out in his debut, Jesus Serrano, but he went points with him over 4 rounds. Um, sorry, yeah, and he drew in his second fight against Bruce Williams, beat Jesus Serrano in his third fight, lost to Anthony Fletcher in his ninth fight on points. That was over 8 rounds. Then he went on a 13-fight win streak between 1981 and 1984. Shows you good activity. And in that time, just before he got his world title fight, he beat 19-0 Raphael Williams, which was a very good win, over 12 rounds on points. And then the next fight was when he fought Ray Boom Boom Mancini um, in Buffalo, New York. Strange area of New York to fight, but hey, people would fight everywhere back then. Um, and he stopped Ray Mancini in the 14th round. It didn't go the 15th round. Yeah, stopped Ray Mancini in the 14th round and won the WBA lightweight title. After that, uh, Livingston Bramble, from the island St. Kitts and Nevis, made 3 defenses of his WBA world title, lightweight title, 135 pounds for those who don't know. And he made 3 defenses. He beat Edwin Curet, beat Ray Mancini on points in the rematch, and he beat Tyrone Crawley, and he took him out in the 13th round. So big up also 13th and final round as well. Man like John Keenan and Donovan. So yeah, man. Then he lost on his fourth defense against the big punching Puerto Rican Edwin Rosario. Rosario had come. I remember Rosario finished his career with 46 wins and 40 knockouts, but at the time he'd gone into the fight at 28-2 with 24 knockouts. Yeah, massive puncher, and this was down in Miami Beach, and he knocked out Bramble in 2 rounds. So yeah. Also in that time, I'm not sure why, but Livingston Bramble, he went under a different sort of name or an alias. It's like Russ something. Russell Aluja Bramble. That was like his alias. But yeah, he was obviously his real name was Livingstone Bramble. I don't know why he changed his name. But that might have been like a Rastafarian name. Um, but yeah, so he lost his title there. His next fight, he drew with Freddie Pemberton on. Obviously, that went points, and then he had a USBA, which is like a domestic American type title. Lost that at 140 pounds at the weight up, like what weight versus Harold Brazier. And then he won. Sorry, that no, he lost that to Pemberton, the USBA one. But then he won the NABF, which is like the American version of the British title, and he won that versus Harold Brazier on points. Um, and then yeah, then afterwards he started. It's by then his career started winding down, slowing down, and he's past his prime, and he lost quite a few fights towards the end, which doesn't have a good reflection on his actual proper career because by the end of it, so he finished 40, 26 and 3. Um, but really, a lot of those losses came way at the end, which so a lot of it don't really count. But he fought guys, past his prime like Obakar, Roger Mayweather, Costa Zhu, Buddy McGirt, guys like that. So yeah, okay. So he did, yeah, become a Rasta. Okay, yeah, I know he had the dreads. I didn't know if that was why, but yeah, it makes sense. So man, like Livingston, that was his Rastafarianism name. Uh, so yeah, that's good stuff. So yeah, sh- shout out to Livingston Bramble, St Kitts and Nevis's finest. Another St Kitts boxer is my good friend Nick Manners. A lot of you guys know Nick Manners from Leeds. So yeah, I know he didn't even know Livingston Bramble was from there. He thought he was from St Croix. I think even Ben Doughty thought he was St Croix, but I showed him that he's from St Kitts and Nevis. So yeah, man, best fight to come out of St Kitts. So big him up and rest in power, champ. Also, in other news, because I said I remember when this was coming in on the day on Saturday, and I was like, these things come in threes, and then long and behold, we heard about Colin Hart, you know, very famous, news journalist, boxing journalist, worked for the Sun, the Daily Mirror, all sorts of big companies and stuff like that. Always on TV. He was on Box Nation a lot of the time. I remember when guys like Gareth A. Davis would look at him. Well, he'd always argue with Gareth A. Davis, and it'd be the other guy looking at Colin Hart for affirmation of anything he says, making sure everything he says is correct. Because Colin's on the board. Colin Hart has seen more fights than good grief. I can't even think of a punchline for it. He's just seen so many fights over the years, so he can go back and recollect a lot of things, and he can say, I saw it, or I was at the time, I reported on it, I interviewed it. He's done interviews with Muhammad Ali, all the greats really. So yeah, he'll be seriously missed in the boxing world. I saw him the last time I saw Colin. was last year at the first. So it was the first Bivol, so first Bivol Beterbiev press conference, which was the 5 vs 5 /1. It was that one where it was the 5 vs 5, Matchroom versus Queensbury, and Beterbiev versus Bivol was the main event on that card. Obviously, that didn't end up happening. It ended up being Bivol versus Malik Zinad. Yeah, but yeah, that press conference there, Colin Hart was there, and I wanted to talk to him, but I was like, oh, it was like, oh, should I say, can I do a little? I thought, but sometimes, see, this is why you got to do it. You think, oh, maybe next time you might think, yeah, let me ask. But so I'm saying he's got to strike sometimes, man. But yeah, I did see him there, and he looked fine. But yeah, he was 89 years old. George Foreman was 76. Um, what's it? Livingston Bramble. I'm not sure how old he was. I believe he was younger than. I think he was the youngest out of all three of them. Let me double check here. He 64. Okay, so he was 64. George Foreman was 76. Colin Hart was 89. Born 1935, so he was going to turn 90 this year. So yeah, he lived a full life, man. Da, 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 da. 1 second. And then so on to the trials now. So news in recently. I've been hearing Adrian Broner been a naughty boy again. He's got himself arrested for allegedly defrauding $1.5 million out of NBA players from a fixed dice game. Uh, this rapper, hip hop mogul, rapper guy in the hip hop scene called Big U. He was involved. He got arrested as well. Um, and Big U wanted Adrian Broner to get jumped for not checking in with him. Um, it also states Big U was charging 100 grand for the protection and NBA players checking in. So he's charging them. So this was in 2019 in LA in June. There's a game involved with professional boxer Adrian Broner and associates and several prominent NBA players, according to CW1. Adrian Broner and his associates fixed the game, cheating the NBA players out of millions of dollars using teased dice. After the game, Russo wrote Henley directed associates to rough up AB, who had not checked in with Henley, who's Big U, and to get money back from him on behalf of cheating the NBA players. Multiple members of the Rolling 60s, this is the Crips, allegedly arrived and were used to press AB, like basically stick it on him. According to the complaint, um, they knew of others in which NBA players or celebrities would need to get approval in advance from Big U to ensure their safety at events such as parties, games, or advertising shoots. Uh, they said that the celebrities would have to pay Henley, which is Big U, for protection and approval, or face retaliation from Big U's enterprise. In a monitored meeting, Big U and someone else identified only as victim one had recounted that he got into it with AB after AB cheated current NBA All Star out of a 1.5 million and former NBA All Star out of 5 million. Henley also talked about charging the players 100 grand to get their money back. There was some names they was mentioning that Adrian Broner uh, cheated out of the money. I'm trying to think who they was talking. They did mention somebody. I forgot who the player was off the top of my head, but you could probably look it up. But yeah, so Adrian Broner's in some. So yeah, they're saying Draymond Green, Shaquille O'Neal were pursued as targets, but they weren't the guys who got stung. So yeah, he's in trouble. He got arrested at the gym. So Adrian Broner's stole 6.5 million from NBA players overall. 6.5 million. I know Adrian Broner had some money issues, but man, talk about the bounce back. He's definitely must have got back on his feet. Remember, he was saying, "Oh well, I'll get money from friends." I know he was into crime as a youngster, and boxing saved him. But as they say, desperate times lead to desperate measures. But robbing, you know, scamming NBA players, that's a bold move. That's a real bold move. Very brave, man. That's very bold of AB to be doing that. So yeah, let's see how that one comes about. But yeah, he got arrested at the gym, and we'll await further details. Next up in the trials, people are saying that Errol Spence could be getting in some heat. I remember my friend Starter, he was talking about this from early last year, and he just kept going on and on in the boxing chat group. You know about this, Tony. And I was thinking, like, just be quiet, man. You're just waffling, 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 waffling. So I weren't really paying him no mind. Shout out Healer done for. You're gonna cheat. That's it, Draymond. He's scarier than a crick. That's what I'm saying. He's he's robbing man 6 foot. What is it? 6'7", 6'8"? How big is he? He's a big dude. But he's a boy. But yeah, Yellow Beezy, he got arrested for the shooting, just the emming, the unaliving of MO3, and people saying that Errol Spence um, is probably due to get called up. They're thinking he has some involvement as well. I remember my friend Start was saying he thinks Errol might have been involved as well. It's alleged that the part of the reason why Errol his car went spinning and he crashed is because he was being chased by MO3. Um, and it weren't just a drink; he was being chased, and that's why he was speeding. Um, and it pulled up to him at the gym because there's a song by MO3, Straight Out the Gym, shoot just straight out the gym, and he's kind of talking about some stuff. These drill guys, they're talking, and rappers, they're talking they're talking about the real life a bit too much. So he's talking about. I remember I listened to that song when Start told me to listen to it. And he's basically talking about he's basically pulled up on Errol at the gym, kind of moving to him like you're a boxer, you don't want none of this. Basically, trying to move to him in the gym. Obviously, Yellow Beezy's Errol's best friend, so they're saying Yellow Beezy, Errol coulda, won't get too much, but you kind of put two and two together. They basically could have ended MO3, or Errol could have had something behind, putting some money up um, to get him ended. And Yellow Beezy, I don't know if he was there or he could have put some money up too, or some of their peoples out in Dallas, Texas. So yeah, man, it's some murky times. Hopefully, Errol, as I said, it doesn't look like he's coming back to boxing. He seems content, happy on his farm, doing his thing. Um, he definitely doesn't want to be. Good thing he didn't go back in against Sebastian Fundora over so much out. We saw what Sebastian Fundora did to. Yeah, fair enough. Booker ain't no Errol Spence, but yeah, I wouldn't. I don't think that's a good fight stylistically for him to be coming back off such a layoff. Do you know what I'm saying? He'll have done for. When you become rich, you have to leave the hood. Yeah, well, Errol, he did move to DeSoto, Texas, which is like, the the suburbs, the affluent part. But yeah, you got to leave that hood mentality, hood um, lifestyle alone. I don't think Errol was a hood like guy like that. Not that he weren't, on the gangbang thing, but obviously he's associated with certain friends and blah blah blah. I'm not sure how far back him and Yellow go as friends. I don't think they were childhood friends. They might have met as adults, obviously in the same industry, and sort of got on. And they're both from the same end. So, but they might have gone. They might go back. They might go way back. I don't know. But hopefully, Errol has no involvement in that. Don't need to be getting yourself involved in any of that. AB, we know AB is a man. He's got ups and downs, turbulent lifestyle. Let's see how that one goes. But boy, a bold move. He was about getting that paper by hook or by crook, boy. By hook or by crook. So yeah, it's not a long one there. Uh, rest in power to George Foreman. Rest in power to Livingston Bramble. Rest in power to Colin Hart. And yeah, to the next one. The next neutral corner should be coming out hopefully tomorrow. It was shot originally weeks ago. Then the power went off in the studio. Had to get the guest back, Jesse Brandon, a week later, and then the editor he went out to Vietnam. He's saying the Wi-Fi is janky out there, taking ages to edit. So I think he said he only got back yesterday. So he said it should be ready today or tomorrow. So it'll probably be ready tomorrow. So hopefully tomorrow evening I'll try and put it out about 8 p.m. tomorrow, the neutral corner. Sorry about that. I know people have been looking for the long form for a while. So, yeah, look forward to the next neutral corner. Should be getting a next guest on soon. Hopefully, I should be getting a couple of guests on coming quite soon as well. So look out for that. Good show on Saturday at the O2 Indigo. TM14 versus Nielsen's Boxing, Mark Nielsen. Big ups to Daniel Francis capturing the Southern Area title over Oliver Duffy. 10 hard ruling rounds. Very good fight. I did a little interview with him afterwards at a chat. And a guy called Sonny Hardy. He beat Alexander Morales. I've just uploaded that little quick interview I did with him as well. Um, so yeah, hopefully there's some shows coming up soon. I'll be able to get down to, and yeah, what's it? Shout out Tiara Brown. She beat Sky Nicholson. You know the Australian commentary team was a joke. They was I don't know what they were doing. They were saying she's hitting when she's missing. She was lucky to not get a point off for the persistent holding. Tiara Brown, the body shots and the work rate inside paid dividends, and she got the W. Yeah, Terramona needs to step up competition. I need to watch this fight where Base was talking about on Pro Box. Shout out Base the Kid. Make sure you subscribe to his channel. Base the Kid at the Hardcore Casual. He was talking about some mad robbery on that card. So if you are watching Base or you watch the playback, if you could write in the comment section the name of the fight, that where there was a big robbery where it wasn't even close, or just send it to me on in the on WhatsApp, please. Much appreciated. But there you have it, guys. What are you saying? You're walking into the Greenwich Park. All right, have a good workout, Tony. Why you finish work so early? What time school finish? They finish early or something like that. It's only 3:10 now. Sharika Johnson. Oh yeah, Shanika Johnson. Shanika Johnson. She won as well. Stopped Nina Hughes in their rematch. Um, yeah, she's decent still, you know. But yeah, well done to her. But yeah, man, there you have it. Is another one from Danny Glover from Fight Fan TV Live. And remember, guys, persistence beats resistance. You know where it is. Haha. Like, share, subscribe, comment, hit the notification bell button, please. And thank you. Blessed from the Most High.